This episode's for anyone who has less than $2,000 a month to spend on marketing and wants to become a real estate investor. Our guest today is Brent Daniels, who's coached 3,600 students from having less than $2,000 a month to getting a deal that pays $20,000 to them just for finding a rundown house. And the strategies he's recommending is door knocking and cold calling. By the way, check out DealMachine's new dialer if you haven't already. My name's David. I created DealMachine, a leading marketing tool for house flippers, and we've helped people close over 10,000 deals in all 50 states. And we bring you guests on these 15-minute recaps to give you the very best knowledge from the very best thought leaders in the space for helping you get your first deal faster.
Every single day, we need to wake up and ask the same question: who's going to do business with us, right? Who is going to do business with us? Who's going to sign a purchase agreement with us today? And that's really what it all starts with. Remember that there's three parts of our real estate business. There's the lead generation, the conversion, and the exit strategy. And I really want to kind of dive into that a little bit, because if you don't have, and I would just tell you this from coaching over 3,600 people personally, if you don't have $2,000 a month to spend in your marketing, you should not be doing inbound leads. Okay. You should be doing outbound leads. And let me explain what that is. That's door knocking and that's cold calling. That's what it is. You can build up a nice referral network, but until you can commit to that $2,000 a month for a minimum of 6 months, you should be using DealMachine to find the best leads and reaching out to those property owners. You can do a little bit of direct mail, but remember, when anybody is reaching out to you because they want to sell their property, you have to answer that call live. You have to respond to a text message within 30 seconds. So it's really, really, really critical that your schedule is conducive to inbound leads when the time is right. When you do have that budget, when you can commit at least $12,000 worth of spend, $2,000 a month for 6 months for inbound leads, you need to be able to answer those calls. So if you are doing direct mail, make sure you not somebody that gets paid $4 an hour, not some call center that's going to, just treat people like a number. You, as the operator and or a very, very good salesperson, is going to take those calls, answer them, pre-qualify them, and set an appointment as soon as possible. Okay. If you're not there, great. Let's talk about picking up the phone and calling people that are on your driving for dollars list. I mean, literally, you need one tool now. DealMachine is like vacuumed up the rest of the industry with all the different tools that you need. It's a CRM. It's where you can pull lists. It's where you skip trace. You can virtually drive for dollars. You can use your app to go out there and find the ugliest properties that are most likely to sell at a discount. It's incredibly powerful and should be used every day. But you need to take massive imperfect action every single day and talk to those property owners. Nothing happens without a quality conversation. That's it. That's the whole business. That's how we build it up. And really, there's a few different phases of the business. One is you got to find your tribe. You know as well as I do, you go to a family barbecue or a friend barbecue or a neighborhood barbecue, or you go to some kids event at the school, or you go to a family reunion and you talk about how excited you are about investing in real estate or wholesaling or whatever else, flipping properties. And they look at you with like glossed over eyes. They're just like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? You got to be surrounded by people that are doing this business. All right. The next step is to get proof of concept. Do a deal. Do a deal. Get your proof of concept. Do a deal. Make some income from this business. Third step is replace your income. Replace your income. Go full time into this. Some of you guys are already there. But the fourth step, this is the tricky part. The fourth step is when you start scaling, when you start bringing people into your business, when you start going and really expanding your business and doing more deals. That's when 90% of real estate entrepreneurs slip back into being self-employed. All right. And that happens for a couple of different reasons, because in that transition, you're going to start doing more inbound leads. You have to be a master at the sales process, the conversion process, than you were at the marketing and lead generation process. And then the last stage is you're totally out of the business. It's running completely without you. That's where I'm at now. And you're just getting passive. It becomes a true servant to you, as opposed to you being a servant to your business. This is when you're at that $30,000 30,000-foot view, and you're just making decisions on how to grow and bring on more talent and keep your profitability really, really high. So, but we can't skip those stages, guys. If you try to skip those stages, you're done. You're going to be out of the business. It's done, right? You try to hire all these people that get paid nothing to do all the important part of your business. You might as well just burn your money. Might as well burn your money. You need the absolute best talent possible when you have earned the right, when your bank account's heavy enough to hire the right people. Do not fall into everybody's funnel of hiring VAs to do your business. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You need to get on the phone and have those quality conversations. The reason it doesn't work is because if you can't get inbound leads and you have to go outbound with your efforts, with your lead generation efforts, you're going to be met with tremendous resistance when you reach out to somebody cold. When you knock on a door or make a call, you're going to get tremendous resistance. The more time you spend in a conversation with a property owner, the lower the resistance is going to be. And our job when we're starting out, if we don't have a huge budget for this business, is to lower the resistance for the conversations that we're having with property owners. That's our job. How do we do that? We do that with our tone of voice. We do that with the way that we're reaching out to people initially. The first 5 seconds of a conversation that we have with the property owner will get us the next 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, we can ask them if they would consider an offer on their property. But what I will tell you is this: you've got that first 5 seconds. So you got to lower that resistance and you got to break their pattern, right? So many property owners are getting calls from all sorts of different companies, whether they be in real estate or not, that there is a natural resistance to regret picking up your call. They're like, oh man, I shouldn't have answered this, right? I shouldn't have answered this. And that adds some friction to that conversation that we have to really get smoothed out. All right. So what I want you to do is when you're first reaching out to somebody, I want you to call them by their first name and do an upswing, right? Matt, Loopy, Anthony, Beth, right? It's a question. And so now there's some built-in curiosity, because amateurs or cold call centers or VAs, they'll do a Mr. Camp, right? They'll do a Mr. Hewitt. They'll do a Mr. Howard. They'll do these type of things, right? Miss Kimmel, right? They'll do these things to try to feel more professional. And you're instantly, we're trained to like knee jerk say no. Knee jerk be like, get our defenses up, build up our force field to get off, right? To get off the phone with them. So we need to use their first name, and then you need to get their permission. You need to have permission. I would just say, Matt, and you go, yeah, who's this? Matt, this is Brent. I'm a local home buyer. And before you hang up on me, I just was hoping to ask you about your home on 1212 Banana Street. And then you could decide if we should talk any further. Is that fair enough? And 80 to 90%, guys, they will say, yeah, what's going on? Right? They're just curious. I didn't talk about an offer. I didn't say I was an investor. I didn't say I was a realtor. I didn't say any of that. I'm a local home buyer, right? I'm Brent. I'm a local home buyer. And before you hang up, I was just hoping to ask you a question about your property at 1212 Banana Street. And then you could decide if we should keep talking or not. Okay. 1, we're going to lower the resistance. 2, we're going to get permission. And then that allows us to ask the question, right? Well, I'm interested in buying a home in your area, and I just wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property there. Got it? And then from there's only 6 responses that you can get, guys. So you're talking to the ugliest houses, the owners of the ugliest houses in your marketplace, or on some sort of distressed property list. You're getting past the first 5 seconds of their resistance. You're asking them if they would consider an offer. And then from there's only 6 responses that they give you. Yes, no, maybe. How much will you give me? Who are you? And how'd you get my number? There's only 6 responses that you will get if you ask somebody if they would consider an offer on their property. So learn the responses to those responses, and you're going to get a lot more confident. All right. But it's very simple. Find the 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times. 6 to 10 based on the US Census. So how many properties are in your market? In Phoenix, Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona, there's 2 million properties. So that's upwards to 120,000 opportunities. To 120 to 200,000 opportunities every single year at all times. And if we talk to 50 of them that are real legit, that would consider doing business with us, your whole financial life has changed. Your whole financial. But I think oftentimes we focus more on the outcomes than we do the actions. If we take massive imperfect action every single day, we pull a list from DealMachine, we click the dial button in DealMachine, and we talk to property owners, you cannot lose. You can't lose. It's only a matter of time. 1 out of 10 should say, yes, they would consider an offer on their property. Okay. And out of those, let's say that you talk to 200 people and you get 20 leads, one of them will do business with you. One of those will close. So it's 1 out of 200 conversations with people that are in one of the 3 buckets of distress. Either the property's in distress because of the condition, they're in financial distress, or it's emotional distress, right? Those are the 3 buckets that we're looking for when we're having these conversations. If you just call random people up, the numbers are way skewed. So you filter down the most likely people to sell at a discount, the 6 to 10%. That's what DealMachine was created for. That's why David went out and built this incredible company. And then you just have conversations with them as often as possible. And 1 out of 10 should say yes. And out of that, 1 out of 200 should close. And the average deal size is 15,000. It's a no-brainer. And then you do that over and over and over again. You go into your boss's office and you say, thank you for the opportunity to work here, but I'm now at a place to where I can go and work in my business full time. And imagine you going full time as a real estate entrepreneur, talking to new property owners that have distress every single day, having a quality conversations based on 4 factors: understanding the condition of the property, their timeline to sell the property, their motivation to sell it, and the price. That is the skeleton of every conversation that you have with the property owner: is condition, timeline, motivation, price. But that's how you do it. And I went from owing about $1 million in judgments, business judgments, from a business that had gone under. I couldn't do bankruptcy because I hadn't filed my taxes. I had a 400 credit score. I was driving essentially a 2002 Camry. It was an ES300 Lexus, but it's basically a Camry with a busted out window. And I would go around and I would find properties that were in rough shape. This is before DealMachine. I'd write them down and I'd call the owner and I'd have a conversation. And that's when I realized, and I was able to settle the judgments, able to increase my credit score, able to actually have a decent lifestyle, and get my net worth up to about 8 million now. And that's not a humble flex. That's not even a humble flex. That's not a flex. That's just all because I just picked up the phone and had conversations with property owners. You give any of you guys the name, address, and phone number of ugly property, and you're going to get big checks. It's inevitable. But you gotta do it you gotta go to that claw machine every single day, and you gotta take your shots. And it's not going to work every time, but eventually it will work. And as long as you're not fishing in a desert, right? You're not just calling people that aren't in a stressful situation. You're going to be efficient, and you're going to do really, really, really well. And then you get to the point where you can get some inbound leads. You can do mail campaigns through DealMachine. You could do pay per lead or pay per click. You're going to have the systems in place to be able to do those things, but it's a progression. And so I'm just here to speed along that progression for you guys and give you the confidence to go out and have quality conversations with people that own ugly houses. That's the whole business. That's the whole business.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.